Well, indeed, Ezra, we continue to be stationed outside the Royal Hotel here in Durban, where those 47 families are currently being accommodated by the provincial government. You'd recall that on Sunday, the provincial government made an announcement in a media briefing that those 47 families would be accommodated in a temporary accommodation that would have been, sourced by the provincial government in a community called Reservoir Hills here in Durban. But a little while later, after that announcement was made, it emerged that in fact the owner of that property changed his mind in terms of accommodating those flood victims. He said that he is now not leasing the building, but instead he wants to sell the accommodation. But of course, the provincial government could not reach a consensus with the owner of that property. But to talk to us more, Desiree, about what exactly is happening here, I'm joined by the provincial KwaZulu-Natal spokesperson, government spokesperson, that's Mr. Lennox Mabaso. Mr. Mabaso, thank you very much for joining us. First and foremost, why is the provincial government sending these flood victims from pillar to post?
Well, we have not sent the victims from pillar to post. There was an accommodation that we identified, and indeed we took the residents, the flood victims to their particular residence. But of course, you know that there was an about 10 and a change of mind from the owner, where, for instance, the owner eventually demanded that government buy the property and own it on a permanent basis, as opposed to the initial arrangement of leasing the property. That took government by surprise, because as you will be aware, down the road, this was a temporary emergency accommodation. Down the road, there is earthworks going on as we speak. You can go there, see for yourself. There is work going on to build permanent structures. So this was intended to take people out of an undignified situation in a community hall, to put them in an area where they can enjoy privacy and the dignity. But when people were coming in there, and then the sudden turn in terms of what should be the agreement of temporarily leasing the property and demanding and holding government at gunpoint to buy at a price that is not competitive without following procedures, that could not be done. But we discovered as we arrived there that there were serious defects that were going to compromise the lives of the people, and that were not initially revealed in the beginning. So it is against this backdrop that government decided to say, look, we're not going to be hanged by the scruff of the neck. We are going to look for a suitable, dignified place where we could house people, and temporarily they have been moved in this beautiful accommodation here, where some of the property owners with a heart that are willing to assist the flood victims have been able to accommodate them, as government is looking for a solution for their temporary emergency accommodation, while a permanent accommodation is already under construction. And they themselves, the flood victims, will be getting jobs, will be working in the construction of their own houses.
Okay, before we talk about the issue of promises, let's understand this deal that you said, that you seem to say that did not basically materialize between the government and the owner of that property. Was it a verbal agreement when you entered into this deal, or you've got the contract in place?
It was handled by lawyers, so it would constitute a legal agreement because it's handled by lawyers. The very fact that negotiations started far back and they've gone on up until the final days, we were allowed access to the property. We are allowed even an opportunity to look at, to clean and spruce it up. The residents themselves came to see it. Some of the committee representing the flood victims, they came to see the property. So it tells you that everything was all systems go. We really do not know what led to the last minute, but more is very suspicious, more especially when you already have people coming in. You are not even notified up front that no, people should not come, but only people when they are there, there's now a new information to say no. And it's not saying don't go into the property, but it's saying no, I'm changing, no longer buy the property, no longer lease the property, buy the property. So it's a ransom, because now you are dealing with people who have faced trauma and tragedies. And now we are trying to bring hope and communicate a plan to them. We are moving you from the hall to a temporary accommodation, and after which is more dignified, and also you enjoy your privacy there, where you can start rebuilding your lives. We are building you a permanent accommodation down the road, and they can see they are happy with the plan, and you will be getting jobs there to assist you to get back your livelihoods. The next thing you have about 10 from the property owners who now all of a sudden are saying, no. Our condition we have changed now is that you must buy, you must no longer lease.
Did the owner sign that agreement, Mr. Mabasa? That's basically what I'm trying to gather.
As you will know, such transactions are handled legally. Legal people on both sides handle those matters.
So, from your understanding, the owner did sign the agreement?
From my understanding is that the legal people have handled all the matters, and I'm sure legal people, when they handle the matters, they follow all the legal protocols.
Okay, we'll park that question, Mr. Mabaso, and move on to the issue of where to from here. These 47 families are currently being accommodated in this hotel. What's going to happen to them?
Well, once again, it is through the effort of this government. When the surprise was sprung on us, the about 10 happened. Government, being a caring government, had to find a solution. And fortunately, we, as I indicated, some good Samaritans, some property owners who still have compassion and passion to assist, and negotiated in good faith with government. They were in good faith. They said, okay, look, we can, for a couple of days, house the people here as we are now seeking a permanent solution. You must remember that.
Sorry, Mr. Mabaso, who's paying for their stay here?
Okay, I suppose we'll answer that question, but you see, we must not place money over the lives of people. And we must apply the spirit of Ubuntu. At this point in time, we're dealing with people that were affected by floods. The issue of money, will answer it. We've got the AGs, we've got all authorities. The most important thing at this point in time is that we have to get the people's lives back and their livelihoods back to normal. We have to deal with the trauma that they've gone through. And then is to make sure that we get them the accommodation. That's a preoccupation and the primary occupation of government. And that's what we are doing at this point in time. We're not only housing them temporarily here, we are also building as we speak, which I ask you to go and see. Dust is flying. We are building permanent accommodation for them so that we go out and we're not taken advantage of and held by the scruff of the neck by some
sorry, Mr. Mabaso, I'm running out of time, but I just want to get clarity. When are they going to be removed from this hotel?
Right now, I'm sure you saw the team. There's every day, as the Premier Nomsato Bengube has announced on behalf of the provincial government, that every day we are seized with this task of getting people out of community care centers into temporary emergency accommodation and eventually into their own permanent homes. There is no mass care center that's not linked to a particular piece of land where we'll either be constructing a house, but now we are also looking at such accommodations.
Are you going to answer my question, Mr. Mabas?
Yes, I am.
The question is, when are you going to be removing these flood victims from this hotel?
We will be moving this flood victims from this hotel into their new temporary emergency accommodation, where we will not be held at gunpoint as government, held at ransom before the end of this week.
Okay, that's the provincial KwaZulu-Natal government provincial spokesperson, Mr. Lennox Mabaso there.